Hello, friends. Welcome to Vacha. Today, we are going to speak on a topic that was requested by many people, especially some who live in the US. And they have asked a question about what do I see with respect to the current situation in America, and when will there be some respite from the fires, especially that are happening in California and the situation in America. So today I'm going to share my thoughts on the situation in America from a mundane astrology perspective. Okay, so before we begin, I'll just like to share the the horoscope chart for America, and here it is. So this is a Scorpio ascendant chart, and in the third house we have the South Node Ketu. Fourth house has got Moon, and in the eighth house in Gemini there's Mars, Venus, Jupiter, and Sun. In the ninth house there's retrograde Mercury, which is combust as well, and there's Rahu, which is the North Node, and in the 11th house there's Saturn. With respect to current transits, there's Saturn transiting over the fourth house of America, and there's Mars transiting over the ninth house in the Cancer sign in America, and it's interesting to notice that both of Mars's enemies, i.e., Mercury and Rahu, they are in the ninth house, and these are both anemic to Mars, and also Cancer is the sign where Mars debilitates. So this is one of the reasons that I see that is the cause for the fires, because there's an Angarak yoga being formed, as in there's a lot of heat and enmity there, and that's the reason. Interesting also to note that Mercury represents green lands like forest, and Rahu represents dry wood, and ninth house also represents fire. So we can see what's happening there in the ninth house, in of USA, and another thing. So one of the reasons why the fire is happening is that there's a severe Angarak yoga formed by a long transit of Mars in Cancer over its natural enemies, Mercury and Rahu. And Mercury and Rahu also represent land and green lands, and they are in the house of forest. And we are coming to hear that there's somehow mismanagement and lack of scarcity of water for the fire department to use the water to extinguish the fire. So water is not available as much is required. So you see, this is all happening. The Angarak yoga is occurring in the watery signs, in the watery sign Trikon. The sign of Cancer is a watery sign. Okay. The second thing that I note is that there's no planet in the trikona of fire signs, i.e., the Leo sign, 10th house, second house, there's Sagittarius, and sixth house, there's Aries. All three are fire signs, and if you see, there's no planet there, which means that there's no one protecting the fire element of this country. If there is some fire, there's no protection. Also, we can also see it as there are challenges to America as a country from the eastern side of its borders. That's another way of seeing it, because fire signs represent the east side in Nadi astrology, in Bhrigunandi Nadi. Okay, so the east side, or the fire signs, the rashis are not protected, so it is vulnerable. America is vulnerable from the rage of fire. Okay, that's the second reason that I see is the reason why there's the fire that's broken out there. The third reason that I see is the transit of Saturn over fourth house, and see, there's Moon over there, and Moon represents normal people. Saturn also represents the masses. And Saturn is aspecting now in Brigunandinadi. We look at trines, trinal aspects only, because planets in trines are they represent similar direction. Hence, they are considered to be almost conjunct to each other. They sit with each other. But here, when Saturn is transiting over Aquarius sign, there is it is also aspecting the natal Sun Mars, which it is anemic with Sun Mars Jupiter. So there is an anemic aspect of Saturn there, and the fourth house is also the house of the ruler or the government. So somehow the government is not helping the normal people out there. The policies of the government are not helping. That's what I see. Also, the wind. Saturn is present in the Aries sign of Aquarius, and we have seen that the wind direction is not helping the extinguishing of fire. It is rather spreading the fire. So there is the wind element. So Saturn is currently transiting over the air sign of Aquarius. That's the reason as well. Okay, now let's look at some other reasons that I see why there's a problem. If we remember last year, I had mentioned on ISD channel that there were four eclipses, and all four of them were visible from America, from North America. The first eclipse was in on 24th, 25th March. There was a lunar eclipse. The second eclipse was a solar eclipse in 2024 on 8th April. The third eclipse was on 17th, 18th September, which was a partial lunar eclipse. And the last eclipse that was seen last year was a 2nd October solar eclipse. All four eclipses were visible in North America, and around, if we observe, around this same time there were some severe events, mass casualty events that happened. So if we look at the incidents that happened, a magnitude 4.8 earthquake. This was not a massive one, although occurred in New Jersey on 5th April. This was still all right. Then there was on 24th September there was Hurricane Helena in Florida, and then there was Hurricane Milton on from 8th to 11th of October. So this was around the time of the the last eclipse that occurred. Then there was also a magnitude 7.1 earthquake that occurred on 5th December in the coast of California. So if we look at the dates, these events have roughly occurred around the dates of the eclipses. So the point of saying is that eclipses have a correlation somewhere in the events that are occurring in America. Okay. Now we are, as we see now, the next two eclipses, upcoming eclipses in March, are also going to be visible in America. So North America and South America for that reason as well. So it is in the period between the eclipses, and unfortunately for a very long time America has been battered by eclipses, whole of last year and this year as well. But the good news is that after the first two eclipses of this year 2025, there's going to be no more eclipses visible in America, at least. So America will get some relief there. Okay, so that is one hint when the situations will be better in America. Now the other thing that I see is that Shani in Purva Bhadrapad Nakshatra. Now, I'd like to talk a bit about that as well. So, Purva Bhadrapad Nakshatra is, it falls within the zodiac sign, zodiac circle. Purva Bhadrapad Nakshatra falls between 20 degrees in Aquarius to 30 degrees 20 minutes in Pisces. So, if a planet whenever a planet transits between 20 degrees of Aquarius to 3 degrees 20 minutes of Pisces, it will transit through Purva Bhadrapad Nakshatra. Okay. Now, what is this Purva Bhadrapad Nakshatra? It's a nakshatra that's owned by Jupiter, and its deity, assigned deity is Aj Ekpada. So he is a form of Rudra, who is visible standing on 1 feet. That's his quality. He stands on one feet. So if you've seen an image or an idol of a form of Rudra who's standing on one feet, he's Aja Ekpada. Okay, that's why Ekpad means 1 foot. Now this nakshatra, it has several symbols. So one symbol is two swords, or the other is man with two faces. So which brings duality in this nakshatra. So it's like saying something and doing something else. Or a sword with a double-edged sword. Like if you do this thing, then that will also happen. The third most important symbol of this nakshatra is the front legs of a cot. Okay, funeral cot, you can say. So, because of this symbol, there's an association with emergency vehicles. Whenever someone has this nakshatra, this nakshatra is actually most prominently seen in the horoscopes of people who work in emergency departments. It could be any emergency, like an ambulance or police or fires or any kind of emergency. So whenever there's sudden event happening and the people who come to help, so these people actually work in those departments because they have the quality to support that situation. Okay, Purva Bhadrapad. So what I have observed is that, and Purva Bhadrapad that way represents sudden events, because sudden unplanned events, and that's when the emergency happens. Okay, so what I've observed is whenever last year Shani was in transiting over Purva Bhadrapad Nakshatra. So Shani was transiting first time over Purva Bhadrapad Nakshatra from 6th April 2024 to 3rd October 2024. Okay, then it became retrograde, so it slid back to the previous nakshatra, and then it got direct, and then it re-entered. Then Saturn re-entered Purva Bhadrapad nakshatra on 28th December 2024, and now it's going to be Saturn is going to be transiting over Purva Bhadrapad nakshatra until 28th of April this year. Okay, so this is another clue as to when things will get better in America. That at least until 28th April, there'll be some or the other kind of emergency happening. If it's not the fire, it could be something else. It could be some mass shootings, it could be some earthquake like we have been seeing, or it could be some hurricane. So America is going to be the emergency people in America are going to be busy with some or the other emergency. I think it's FEMA, the department. They are going to be very busy until 28th of April. Okay, the other thing I can see is it will also get things will get better if we want to see little bit one notch better. When Saturn transits in Pisces, it will still be in Purva Bhadrapad Nakshatra, because remember Purva Bhadrapad Nakshatra goes until 3 degrees 20 minutes of Pisces. So it will be in, even though Shani transits, Saturn transits to Pisces on 29th of March, 30th of March this year, it will still stay in Purva Bhadrapad until the 6th of April. Sorry, 28th of April this year. Okay, but anyways, once it moves out of the Aquarius sign, it will stop bothering the sun in there, the sun and Mars. So it will be a little bit better, but it will be much better when it moves out of Purva Bhadrapad Nakshatra on 28th April. Also, not to forget, Saturn will re-enter Purva Bhadrapad Nakshatra later this year from 4th of October 2025 till 20th of January 2026, because Saturn will get retrograde. So it might move to Uttar Bhadrapad Nakshatra, but then it will retrograde back and then re-enter Purva Bhadrapada and then get direct and then move forward again. Okay, so these are the timings. So whenever Saturn has been transiting over Purva Bhadrapad Nakshatra, America has seen some or the other emergency event. Okay, so eclipses add to that, Saturn transiting through Purva Bhadrapada Nakshatra, and then Mars transiting over Cancer. All of these have together brought about this problem in collectively to America. the problems that we are seeing. Okay. Last but not the least, what I can see is that Trump's oath taking ceremony is also happening on the 20th of January. This is a critical time as Sun will be transiting over the third house of America, where there's Ketu, and also Saturn is still transiting from and aspecting the natal sun of America. So I think the security of Trump needs to be tightened, and there could be some events, some casualty events, not just maybe in relation to Trump, but it could be in relation to anyone. There is a still critical situation that is continuing to be there for some amount of time, and especially in relation to the things what happening in the capital and in the government spectrum in America. Okay, so that's my analysis. Please do let me know if you have any further questions about this, and if I've been let me know if I've been able to explain the issue why things are happening in America and whatnot. But yeah, after the first, like I said, after the first two eclipses in this year, the America is not going to see any more eclipses, at least for the rest of this year. So things will get better. Okay, so yeah, I hope you like this. If you like it, please hit the like button, subscribe, and share. Thank you.